Hey there, everyone. This is your pre-lab lecture for the taxonomy lab. Since hundreds and thousands of years ago, humans are really insatiable curious, so we want to be able to classify things. And as far as in biology, we call this taxonomy. So you can see the one guy here, he's saying, well, let's call this a canine. And then other people also agree. And so we can call the same thing by the same name. Okay, so what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the classification of things based on similar traits, okay? And in biology, we usually use this to classify different plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, things like that. Now, back in the 1700s, Linnaeus, he was known as the father of taxonomy, and what he did was he created a binomial nomenclature. Now, what he did was he broke up things into groups that had these similar characteristics. Okay, so the broadest of those would be the kingdoms, which he had 3 kingdoms, which was animals, plants, and minerals, which we actually have more kingdoms now as well as when we know more about taxonomy and how things have evolved. And you can see this is our taxonomy for Homo sapiens, or for humans. So we are animals. We are also chordates, which means that we have a backbone. We are a mammal and a primate. We are hominids. And then, as we usually know of Homo sapiens, which is our genus and species. And you can classify anything in this particular way. So let's go ahead and use some taxonomy on these birds. All right, so I have these 6 birds, and you can see they're all similar, but they do have differences. And how we're going to do that is with a branching tree diagram. So what we can do is we can separate these birds by a similar characteristic. So as you can see up at the top, I have all birds. So all 6 of those birds would start in the top. And then I broke them up into one particular, based on one particular attribute of theirs. Okay, so you can see that for 1A, I have all the yellow birds. And then for 1B, I have not yellow birds. All right, so we don't want to say yellow birds and red birds, okay? It is something or it is not something. And so if you put, yellow birds and red birds or similarly in your lab, you will be marked off. So yellow birds, not yellow birds. All right. Then I went ahead and I can separate these yellow birds into a separate category of their own, and as well as the not yellow birds. All right, so as you can see, I went ahead and separated them by long beaks and not long beaks. All right, so we can see now that some of these birds are starting to be in a group all by themselves. So for example, we have the yellow bird, we have bird number 4, and he is in group 2A all by himself. So he is a yellow bird with a long beak. And at that particular time, we can classify that bird all by itself. And that's the same thing as with the not yellow bird with the long beak in group 3A. Okay, but we still have to do some more separation because the ones that do not have long beaks are still in a group. So we can do that they have tails or no tails. All right, and you can see that I separated them based on that. And now we have all birds that are only in one group by themselves. With this, we can then go ahead and make a dichotomous key. Now, the first thing that you want to do when you're making a dichotomous key is that you want to write down the number letter combinations that correspond to your tree diagram. So since I have from 1A down to 5B, you see that I listed that here on the right so you can see it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fill in the critters that fall underneath these categories. All right, so for example, when we're looking at categories 1A and 1B for yellow birds or not yellow birds, you can see that the yellow birds, I put birds number 1, number 4, and number 6, whereas the not yellow birds were numbers 2, 3, and 5. And you're going to go ahead and continue this down using your tree diagram. And it will eventually look something like this. And you'll know if you did this correctly if you have one number for each one. All right, so as you can see, I have bird number 4 as 2A, bird number 3 as 3A, and so on and so forth. All of the red numbers I have displayed are the birds that are alone in their own category. And it does encompass all of the birds numbers 1 through 6. Now you're going to be doing two different things in this lab. You're going to be making a tree diagram and dichotomous key similar to the one that we just made together in this video. Then you're also going to take a dichotomous key that is already put together and use a number of pictures of leaves to determine what kind of tree that leaf came from. Okay, so then you're pretty much doing this backwards, right? The first time we're making the tree diagram in order to make a dichotomous key, then you're going to be giving the dichotomous key in order to figure out the what the tree is that those leaves came from. All right, and this concludes our pre-lab lecture for taxonomy. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you stop into my office hours or shoot me an email.